причинами. Оплодотворите ее.
Who you worried about? Iraq? Panama? Who you worried about? We're spending $270 billion a year on the military, but we don't have a major enemy. I know it hurts your feelings. I know you're upset about it. I know you're hoping and praying that maybe we'll have another war. Maybe somebody will rise up. But it ain't happening. The Soviet Union doesn't exist. The Warsaw Pact is through. No more B-2 bombers. No more Star Wars. Let's make the quality products we need. Let's invest in American industry.
Concerned about the media today and the degree to which a few corporations control what we see, hear, and read. But if you check American history, sometimes the president will tell you, well, we're always defenders of freedom. We believe in freedom. But if you check history, what you will find is that in many years, especially in Latin America, which way back from when President Monroe developed his Monroe Doctrine, we have the right to own Latin America, and we will tell any government there what we want to happen. That's the simple truth. So throughout our history, we have overthrown many, many governments. We didn't like their form of government. In the case of Chile, in 1973, what you had is an election in which a guy named Salvador Allende won the election. Problem is, Nixon and his friends didn't like him. Why? Because Salvador Allende fought for the poor people and the working people of their country. He believed that the resources of Chile, their copper mines and so forth, should belong to the people. And he won a free election. No one denied that for a second. It was a tough election. He didn't win by much, but he won a free election. There was another election. His party got more support. He was overthrown by the CIA and corporate interest, because corporate interest preferred, of course, that the United States companies dominate that country. And a lot of what politics is about, going way, way back to the 19th century, to England, France, is the domination of colonies so that big companies in a given country can take the resources of those countries for their own use. So I think that's what happened, and it was a very unfortunate day in American history. Allende won in a democratic election, was popular, was overthrown, and eventually killed. And in his place, a guy named General Pinochet took place, ran that country with an iron fist, killed many, many people, but he was okay. He was a good guy. Why? Because he was a friend of corporate America.
Here's the simple truth, that in America we have millions and millions of working people who are working hard but are not making enough money to put bread on the table or to take care of their kids, and that has got to end. Today, all over America, you got mom working, you got dad working, occasionally you have the kids working, and we still don't have enough money to pay the bills. Something is fundamentally wrong about that. The problems we face did not come down from the heavens. They are made by bad human decisions. And good human decisions can change them. It is time that the United States of America join the rest of the industrialized world and guaranteed health care to all people as a right, not a privilege. Given the incredible wealth and income inequality in America today, we need fair elections, which means public funding of elections. My Republican friends just decided to put another $38 billion into the military. Maybe we can cut military spending a little bit and put it into education. 100 years ago, women didn't even have the right to vote. Change takes place because people struggle. Within the next month, I will introduce legislation that will make every public college and public university tuition free. I am in this business because I have 4 beautiful kids and I have 7 beautiful grandchildren. And like you, I want to make sure that the world that we leave them is a beautiful world where people can live full and dignified lives. I don't want to see a world where people are struggling and stepping all over each other. And we can do it. We can provide health care
to all of our people. We can create decent paying jobs. We can reverse climate change and transform our energy system. We can raise wages. We can make sure that every person in this country gets the education they need and desire. This is not some type of utopian dream. It can happen. It really can. But it will not happen unless we stand up and fight back for not only ourselves, but for our kids and future generations. Let's do it.
Now, lobbyists are, in general, when people talk about lobbyists, it's an unattractive term. We think of it in terms of a negative. We don't think of, oh, thank God there's lobbyists. We think, wow, there's someone with enormous amounts of money using that money to gain influence on politicians, and it shapes regular people. It shapes our lives mostly in a negative way. This is the way most people look at it. I'm not saying it's correct. Why do we have that system in place? Like, why do we have lobbyists? Why is it legal for someone to spend exorbitant amounts of money to affect our civilization, to affect the way our culture works?
All right, now you're taking us into a whole new area.
Yeah.
All right, let's look. All right, let me detour and I'll come back.
Please do.
All right. Today in America, you got 3 people owning more wealth than the bottom half of the American society. You don't see that on television too much, do you?
No, you don't.
3 people. You got the top 1% owning more wealth than the bottom 92%. Listen to this. This is a statistic we recently saw. Came from the Federal Reserve. Over the last 30 years, the top 1% has seen a $21 trillion increase in their wealth. The bottom half of America has seen a $900 billion decline in their wealth. So what you have in America today is a relatively small number of incredibly wealthy people. And I deal with these guys every day. People say, oh, we're talking about rich. You don't know what rich is, what multi-billion-dollar operations are. Incredible power over our society. And if you are the pharmaceutical industry, and last year 10 companies made $69 billion in profit, you're sitting around right now saying, all right, that's great. How do we do better next year? What strategy do we have? We're going to put a lot of ads on. We're going to work with during the CNN debate that I participated in recently, in the debate, right in the middle of the debate, the drug companies and the insurance companies had an ad telling how bad Medicare for all would be. So they're smart guys, and they use their power over politicians. They use their power over the media. They spend billions of dollars on advertising on media to make sure that they make as much as they can in profit. But it's not any different with Wall Street. It's not any different with the fossil fuel industry or the prison industrial complex. These guys have wealth, they have power, and they could care less about the needs of working people in this country. And that's the dynamic of American politics right now. And in our campaign, look, we're taking them all on. And I know it makes a lot of people uncomfortable. But we are taking on all of these entities and all of their wealth and all of their power. And that's what a political revolution is about.
So the real problem seems to be that they have this strategy of unlimited growth, not that they're not providing medication that people need to save their lives. I mean, it's obviously important to have pharmaceutical companies.
Of course.
Right. So there's good that they provide, but the business aspect of it is where the problem lies, right?
Right. Look, they have great researchers, but if you check how they even spend their money, you know, they will tell you this, all of their money on research and development. We're tackling cancer, we're tackling diabetes, Alzheimer's. The truth is, of course they are. But the bulk of their money is going off into what we call Me Too drugs. They make modest changes in a drug which really doesn't improve people's well-being in order to make profits. So the answer is yes. We need obviously vigorous research and development. And by the way, your tax dollars, all of our tax dollars often goes to that research, and we don't get the benefit of it in terms of lower prices.
So it's a business model issue.
Exactly.
It's a greed issue.
You've got it.
We have an economic and political crisis in this country. We need to develop a political movement prepared to take on and defeat a ruling class whose greed is destroying our nation.
Tell me, is there some society you know that doesn't run on greed? You think Russia doesn't run on greed? You think China doesn't run on greed? The world runs on individuals pursuing their separate interests.
Democratic socialism means that we must create an economy that works for all, not just the very wealthy.
The reason why you say that is because it is so hard for people to get out of the notion that life is a zero-sum game. They think if one man benefits, another must lose. But in a free market, both people can benefit.
But if somebody works 40 hours a week, that person should not be living in poverty.
In the only cases in which the masses have escaped from the kind of grinding poverty you're talking about, the only cases in recorded history are where they have had capitalism and largely free trade.
We must raise the minimum wage to a living wage.
The minimum wage law is a law requiring employers to discriminate against low-skilled people. That's not the way anybody will describe it, but that is in fact what it is.
It makes far more sense to me to put millions of people back to work, rebuilding our crumbling infrastructure.
The great achievements of civilization have not come from government bureaus. Is it really true that political self-interest is nobler somehow than economic self-interest? You know, I think you're taking a lot of things for granted. And just tell me where in the world you find these angels who are going to organize society for us. Well, I don't even trust you to do that.
My vision is transforming American society.
Yeah, I don't have any doubt about his sincerity, but I think sincerity is a much overrated virtue. What troubles me about him is that he wants to run my life for me instead of letting me run my life.
我是害羞酱，我们的川普同志啊，这几年可以说是出尽了风头，从 Twitter 火到了 B 站，而作为他的假想敌，拜登也被他连连怼上热搜。老头儿也挺可怜的，都77岁准备退休了，硬被怼成了总统候选人。可是如果问谁在这过去4-5年里真正引领了美国人的政治觉悟，这个人非 Bernie Sanders 莫属。Sanders 主张让美国人借鉴欧洲的社会主义模式，在所有政客都用低收税来赢得民众支持的时候，只有他主张涨税、涨福利，让美国脱离贫富悬殊的状态。
Senator Sanders, I'll give you 10 seconds just to answer the very direct question. Will you raise taxes for the middle class?
Yes, they will pay more in taxes, but less in health care for what they get.
我在美国念了这么多年的书，从红学的老师，除了少数川普脑残粉，基本上都是 Sanders 的拥护者。所以今天为大家介绍一下这位美国政界的传奇人物。
What are some of the problems that you see?
I don't see many problems at all.
Okay, do you think everybody you know has enough money?
No.
All right, is that a problem?
Yes.
Does everybody you know have decent jobs?
No.
Well, some people do and some people don't. Okay? Do any of the older kids that you know have some problems with drugs occasionally?
No.
Well, who wants to talk to me about that one? What about drugs? Is that a problem?
I like goat.
Okay, do you want to talk?
Sanders 跟 Trump 一样，都是纽约人。作为一个犹太家庭的孩子，他从小就对民主制感到困惑，因为他不懂一个优秀的政体怎么会选出希特勒这样的恶魔。所以 Sanders 从小就立志从政。大学时，在芝加哥参加了青年社会主义联盟，在校是多个学校组织的主席，并且带领其他学生狂怼校长，最后成功让校长解除了学生宿舍里的种族隔离制度。1981年，41岁的 Sanders 以独立候选人的身份击败民主党，在福蒙特州第一大城市伯灵顿连任了4任市长。他上任以后，自己建立了一个福蒙特进步党，让他的政令得以实施。这是他当市长时的影片记录。
We are one of 2 nations in the industrialized world that does not have a national healthcare system. The wealthiest people in our country are becoming wealthier. Do you think it's important that you know how to read well and write?
No.
Oh, you think not? Oh, really? I'm trying to argue with these kids. They think they're very smart and that school is not important.
Yeah.
Is that right? Well, I disagree with you. All right? I think you're dumb.
Healthcare, in my view, is a human right. And we have got to pass a Medicare for all single-payer system. I believe that education is the future for this country. And we do that by placing a tax on Wall Street.
1990年 ，Sanders 成为了美国35年以来第一位无党派国会议员， 也是当时国会唯一一位社会主义者。他一上台就朝两大党同时开怼，抨击他们只顾富人利益，不顾穷人死活的作风，并在第2年成立了国会进步小组，巩固自己的实力。他在国会被称为修正案之王，以美国人的人权、经济、健康、社会治安做出了无数贡献。2012年，他曾考虑过挑战准备连任的奥巴马，最后被他的朋友劝退。Sanders 还是出名的吸金高手。2006年，他在竞选参议员的时候，就为了对抗共和党的土豪，筹集550多万。到了2015年竞选总统，1天之内筹到150万。不同于其他受到财团与富商支持的政客，Sanders 的金主主要是散户，也就是平民老百姓，这个捐10块，那个捐20的。2016年，他筹款总共7300万，而筹款的人有250万，人均27块。而川普同年竞选，光自己就掏了5000多万。2019年，77岁高龄的 Sanders 大爷再次参加民主党的美国总统初选，气场盖过所有竞选的男女老少，与讲不清楚话的拜登形成了鲜明的对比，并且选票一度领先。可是无论他社会主义的信念还是无党籍的身份，都让他无法得到党内人士的支持。民主党高层对他的竞选不置可否，纽约时报更是黑他得到了普京的支持，而且用上了据知情人士透露这种3流黑粉讲的话。在多重打击下 ，Sanders 最后被拜登反超。4月份，在奥巴马反复劝说之下，退出了竞选的舞台。在疫情笼罩的美国，老桑仍然奋战在国会第一线，为美国人民争取他们最后的权益。我想，这种为了理想几十年始终如一、逆流而上的人，无论在哪里都会为人所钦佩吧。
Oh my God, the universe is collapsing. Imagine that. Somebody who's making $12 an hour, now like the rest of us, faces an unprecedented economic crisis with the $600 on top of their regular unemployment check, might be making a few bucks more for 4 months. Oh my word! Will the universe survive? How absurd and wrong is that? What kind of value system is that? You see, because poor people are down here, they don't deserve, they don't eat, they don't pay rent, they don't go to the doctor, they're somehow inferior because they're poor, going to give them less. You haven't raised the minimum wage in 10 years. Minimum wage should be at least $15 an hour. You haven't done that. You've cut program after program after program, and now, horror of horrors, for 4 months, workers might be earning a few bucks more than they otherwise went.
United forever in friendship and labor, our mighty republics will ever endure. The great Soviet Union will live through the ages, the dream of a people, their fortress secure. Long live our Soviet motherland, built by the people's mighty hand. Long live our people, united and free, strong in a friendship tried by fire. Long may our crimson flag inspire, shining in glory for all men to see. Through days dark and stormy, while great Lenin led us, our eyes saw the bright sun of freedom above. And Stalin, our leader, with faith in the people, inspired us to build out the land that we love.
High
fought for the future, destroyed the invader, and brought to our homeland the laurels of fame. Her glory will live in the memory of nations, and all generations will honor her name. Long live our Soviet motherland, built by the people's mighty hand. Long live her people, united and free, strong in a friendship tried by fire. Long may our crimson flag inspire, shining in glory for all men to see.